So Epic Games and Psyonix just dropped the RLCS format for 2024, and a lot of players and coaches are not happy about it. In this new iteration of RLCS, we're going to be getting 2 majors when previously we used to get 3 splits: winter, spring, and fall. For teams to compete in these majors, they're going to have to first go through online open qualifiers. For each major, there's going to be 3 online open qualifiers consisting of a double elimination stage, a Swiss system stage, and then finally the third stage being a single elimination tournament amongst the top 8 teams. The first round of qualifiers is going to establish the top 16 teams in a region through a double elimination tournament. The second round is basically a Swiss system that establishes the top 8 teams in the region. For those of you not familiar with the Swiss system, this is how it works. Each team is going to play other teams that have the same score. Matchmaking is going to occur after the entire round is completed. For teams with the same record, what will actually be used is different factors such as the strength of the schedule, margin of victory, and so on. To sum it all up, basically everybody gets 3 lives. You go 3-0, you qualify. If you go 0-3, you go home. And then finally, the third round is just going to be the top 8 teams competing in a single elimination bracket on the same weekend. And from there, the third round is going to determine the standings in the region. Now on to the majors. Majors are still 16 teams total. NA and EU are going to get 4 teams each. MENA, Oceania, and South America are going to get 2 teams each. And then finally, APAC and the newest region, actually, Sub-Saharan Africa, are going to get 1 team each. And in my opinion, I think it's great. Rocket League's expanding. That means we're getting stiffer competition from newer regions in the world. And it's really great that we get an extra spot for teams in the MENA region, for example, where we had teams like the Falcons and Rule 1 who were constantly fighting for that one spot that they would get every single major and every single championship. Now, while it's great that Rocket League's expanding, what sucks is that North America and EU are both losing a spot in the majors. Compared to last year and years prior, North America and EU would actually have 5 spots to compete for. So really, in North America, we'll have Gen G, Dignitas, Version 1, FaZe, Complexity, all competing for 4 spots that are the only ones available. And finally, for the schedule, Major 1 qualifiers are actually going to take place from the end of January all the way to the beginning of March, with Major 1 actually taking place at some time in the middle of March. The date hasn't been announced yet. Major 2 qualifiers are going to be through mid-April all the way through the end of May, with Major 2 taking place at some point in June. Again, the date hasn't been announced yet. And then finally, we're going to have a 3-month break before Worlds in September. Now, a lot of pros and coaches have actually taken to social media and been giving their opinions on the new changes, and they're not too happy about it. With pros like Cheese basically saying that the announcement couldn't have possibly have been worse. Or pros like AJ basically listing out everything that they're unhappy with on Twitter. I think a big point of frustration is a major being taken away, where previously we used to have 3, now we only have 2, and that's giving players and coaches less opportunity to compete for money. Not to mention prize pools are also shrinking. With the top 128 teams getting paid also, it basically means a lower payout for the top competing teams. And then finally, for salt in the wound, they haven't even released payouts for how the top competing teams will be paid. Which, if you were a competitor in a major esport, wouldn't you want to know how much you'd be making if you did really well compared to if you did really poor? And then as fans of the esport, me being one of them, what frustrates me the most is the schedule being chalked. All the regions are competing on the same dates, not at the same times, but still, it makes it extremely hard to find teams that I want to see competing. All the regions are going to be competing on the exact same dates, which makes for a worse viewing experience for the fans. To put it in perspective, this would be like the NFL having all their playoff games broadcast at the exact same time. It just wouldn't work out. You'd be swapping through channels so fast it would make your head spin. Realistically, as a fan of RLCS, I really enjoy Rocket League. I want to see it grow, I want to see it flourish, and I think they've done a pretty good job of that by expanding into new regions and adding a couple more qualifying spots in other regions. But I have to admit, I'm a little frustrated that they took away spots from major competitive regions in order to do that. And not to mention the prize pool being lower is also another frustrating factor as a fan. Realistically, I think RLCS is going to be fine. I just don't think that these are great decisions being made by the company. Personally, I understand longevity, you want your league to last, and I understand a bit of the business decisions going on behind the scenes, but a little bit more clarification would have been nice, or at least some transparency. I don't know, let me know what you think in the comments, but that's basically all I wanted to talk about today. Peace.